When we're stuck, really struggling with something, what's the one piece of advice we always seem to get? Just try harder, right? It's what we tell ourselves, it's what other people tell us. But what if that's only half the story? What if the real key to growing isn't just about more effort, but about the environment that makes our effort actually mean something? So let's really challenge that idea. We're going to dig into why just telling someone to try harder can be, well, kind of useless and maybe even a little harmful if the right foundation isn't there to begin with. And to get there, we've got to start with a word you've probably heard a million times: grit. It's a great concept, for sure, but it's just our starting point. We're going to peel back the layers and find something a little more useful underneath. So grit, as we hear about it, is all about that long-term stamina. It's having a huge goal way down the road and having the passion and the sheer consistency to get there. You can think of it like running a marathon, not a sprint. That big picture view is great and all. But what about right now, when you're staring at a problem, you've hit a wall, and you just feel that wave of frustration wash over you? That long-term vision of grit doesn't really give you any strategies for what to do in this very moment. And this is where the distinction becomes absolutely crucial. Researchers actually separate grit from a more practical idea: perseverance. So think of it this way. Grit is the final destination, but perseverance is how you handle the steep hills and the rocky patches to actually get there. It's all about how you use your effort when you're truly stuck. And that's the difference right there. Perseverance isn't just about stubbornly banging your head against the same wall over and over. It's about being both tenacious, sticking with it, and being flexible. It's about trying different angles, coming up with new strategies, until something finally clicks and you make a little bit of progress. Okay, so if perseverance is the how, the flexible, tenacious way we tackle problems, then the next obvious question has to be where. Where can this kind of productive, creative struggle actually happen? Well, it turns out it needs a very specific kind of environment to thrive. And that special environment is built on one thing: psychological safety. It's this shared feeling, this unspoken agreement within a group, whether it's a classroom, a family, or a team at work, that it's okay to take risks with each other. It's the belief that you won't be punished or humiliated for speaking up, and it's the absolute bedrock that makes real progress possible. This totally reframes what it means to learn, doesn't it? Learning isn't passive. It actually requires us to be vulnerable. Think about it. Asking for help, admitting you made a mistake. That can feel like putting up a big sign that says, "I don't know what I'm doing." Without that feeling of psychological safety, we just won't do those things. We play it safe, and real learning just grinds to a halt. So what happens when that psychological safety is completely gone? You get an environment where there is absolutely no freedom to fail. And the fallout from that? It's pretty significant. Let's look at a powerful, real-world example. The Kenyan 844 education system, for a time, was found to create a really psychologically unsafe environment. The intense, overwhelming focus on high-stakes exams led to this cutthroat competition, a paralyzing fear of exams, and it actually narrowed what students could learn. Learning stopped being about discovery and became all about just passing the test. And the alternative could not be more different. The whole idea is that education should do the exact opposite. It should give us a wide, liberal foundation that allows for human freedom, a chance for us to explore, to figure out who we are, to find our own way without that constant fear. And this gets us right to the heart of it. Why is this freedom to mess up, to be wrong, so critical? And on the flip side, what are we so afraid of? Why do we build these systems that create so much pressure? The answer isn't really about school or work. It's about a much deeper, much older human story. See, we're not just afraid of getting a bad grade or a negative performance review. Our fear of failure is tangled up with one of the most powerful and primitive human emotions there is, something that we've been telling stories about for basically all of human history. The real barrier here is shame, and it's so important to see how shame is different from guilt. Guilt is feeling bad about something you did. Shame, as the philosopher Stanley Cavell put it, is the feeling that there is something fundamentally wrong with who you are. It's the fear that your very self will be exposed as flawed, as not good enough. And you just can't try harder to fix that feeling. Pushing through doesn't work when you're afraid that you, yourself, are the problem. The only thing that can dissolve this paralyzing shame, the only way to create that safe space we all need, is empathy. Empathy is simple, really. It's the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes. It's not the same as pity, which is kind of looking down from a distance. Empathy is about connection. It's about truly trying to see the world from where another person is standing. And this brings us to this incredible, powerful idea. The philosopher Mikhail Bakhtin argued that we don't just become ourselves in a vacuum. We actually form our identity, we become who we are, by showing ourselves to another person and seeing ourselves reflected back through their empathetic eyes. The fear of shame is the fear of being seen and then rejected. Empathy is the miracle of being seen and accepted anyway. So here it is. Here's the roadmap. It all starts with empathy. Empathy is what creates psychological safety. That safety gives us the freedom to fail, which allows us to practice real perseverance, that tenacious, flexible problem solving. And that is the only thing that leads to genuine, meaningful growth. So this brings the entire idea right back to us, to our lives. Try harder is advice for an individual, but creating real growth, that's a group project. So the final question is for you. In your team, in your classroom, in your family, where could you create a window, not to demand more effort, but to offer a little more empathy?